Well, as a film producer, you're always looking for stories. And I don't know, one day about 15 years ago, I woke up and went, that's interesting. My parents, that's a good story. And at about that time, I saw a play by a writer called Bill Nicholson called Shadowlands, which I loved, and I thought this is the tone that I would like if I was to make a film about my parents. And I met Bill, who I was working with on a film called Elizabeth the Golden Age, and I asked him if he would write the story. I told him the story, and he said, I will. I'd love to write. It's an amazing story, but only if you don't pay me. So I went, okay, that's good. I like that. So we have now paid him, I should say, since the film has actually happened. But it meant that we could develop it over a very long time. And then when Andy and I became business partners in our company, The Imaginarium, I gave the script to him. He liked it. And so we then continued to develop it together. But the film was never going to happen until we found the critical ingredients who are sitting on my right.
It's lovely being described as an ingredient, though. I really appreciate that. I was sent the script, and I read it, and I just cried constantly and laughed a lot and cried more and then laughed more. Mostly more laughter than crying, but a lot of crying. So that was like loads of laughter. It felt so strangely, stranger than fiction and so strangely unique. And then I sat with Jonathan. We had a delightful dinner in Los Angeles, and there was just a magic that I felt about the whole process and his parents' life and his life. And I spoke to Andy on the phone, and I felt so heartened that his vision was so heartfelt and so about the pioneering spirit of these two people.
I've never read a script and felt that way about it. I didn't really think about it, and a lot of time, I don't know whether you do this, but when you're reading something, you're going, oh, could I do that? Or, I wonder how they'll do that. And I wonder. I just didn't think about anything. I didn't think about me reading it, thinking I might be in it, or how they would do it. I just read the story. It was just beyond moved, really.
Truly so thankful that it is the first film that I've made. It's such an incredibly vivid, brilliant, vibrant and witty take on disaster. To try and exist outside of the hospital system at that time, I just thought was like climbing Everest. The essence of this movie is hope. The essence of this movie is love. And the essence of Robin and Diana is this incredible wit and humour. That was reflected in every single aspect of making this film. From the beginning of the movie, which is like a fairy tale, these two gilded young people, athletic, great, their lives are going to be incredible. They are totally in love with each other, and then obviously they get struck down, and it's in every choice of design, in every shot, in every aspect of it was this vibrancy with which they continued to live life afterwards. And we were making a movie. We were not making a documentary, and that is one of the most exciting things, I think, about the energy of what we all had and felt on set was this. We were elevating this to tell a story, not just a literal story of survival, but a metaphor for our times about love, about the power of love.
I don't want to embarrass him any more than I already have. It's more his essence, I'm afraid. Sorry, dear boy. It's more just being around his essence. He's definitely his father's son and his mother's son. But there's an essence, that Cavendish essence, which was so intoxicating for me, just in script form when I read the script, and in meeting Jonathan, and then meeting Diana, and meeting all of the old friends. It was by osmosis, really. I think that was the process. It was time spent and just opening my pores and all my senses to, the essence of his DNA, the essence of Jonathan's DNA, which is very lovely to be around and to absorb, so.
And Claire, you actually got to meet Diana, I assume, before you started working on this. What essence of her struck you right away when you met her?
Well, I was a bit scared to meet her because after reading the script, I became a bit of a hero in my head. But she's exactly how she's drawn by Bill Nicholson, who wrote the script. She's just herself. She's unashamedly herself, and she won't be anyone else for anyone else, which I just find incredible.
The screening, yes, that Andy and I were most nervous about was the screening that we had for my mother. Last night was the first time I think she saw it as a punter in a way. And I've only ever seen my mother cry once. all in my entire life, despite everything that was going on. And that was one of the things that we wanted to put across. And actually, that was when her mother gave her a kettle for the 3rd time running at Christmas. That was the only time I ever saw her cry. And there were quite a lot of other times and places where crying might have been more appropriate. And so I think what she loves about the film is that it absolutely accurately gets the way that they dealt with life. The fact that what my mother did once my father became ill, and this was a man who had been in total control of his life, apparently, and then he lost total control of his life. And what my mother very cleverly and subtly did was gave him control back behind the scenes so that he became again, and this, remember, was the 1960s, he became again, you know, the person who suggested where people sat for lunch. They were very social, they had a lot of friends, and he was apparently in charge. And the subtlety with which she did that and made it happen and surrounded him with people, and he was an enormously charismatic and funny man. And I think what has astonished her most of all is Andrew's performance, which really, you know, has brought my father back in the most extraordinary way. And about 3 weeks before we started filming, I had a very frightening moment in which I did realize that Andrew was going to bring my father back. I got a phone message, and I listened to it, and it was my father, and he'd been dead for 22 years. And at the end of the message, Andrew went, "How was that?"
Love is undeniably the most important and universal word in all language. I'm curious how the process of making this film and experiencing this story perhaps changed and redefined your parameter, your definition of what that word actually means.
Yeah, wow. Welcome to the press conference. Welcome to the... Yeah, wonderful question and a wonderful philosophical, endless... You know, the poets haven't figured that out. Rumi didn't quite figure it out. I don't know if I'm going to be able to add much to the discourse. I'll give it a go though. I know it was really from reading the script. Immediately when I read the script, I thought, well, I didn't think it was a visceral feeling. It kind of plunges to the depths of you and it shows you what's possible. It reminds you of your own capacities for that unconditional love. I believe it is an energy that we're either awake to or we're not. We either allow in or we don't. And I think we always get to choose it. But ultimately, it's deeply mysterious. And I think that there was a very mysterious thing that seemed to happen with your parents, that it was a transcendent love. And love doesn't even do it. Love as a word doesn't seem to encapsulate it. I remember the last scene of the film that we shot together, where you know, Robin's about to pass away, and I was so dissatisfied with the words. There were no words when I looked in Claire's eyes and Diana's eyes. There were no words that could do justice to the... Oh God, I might just cry in a TIFF press conference. I don't particularly want to, but there were no. I think I was even talking to you guys about it at the time. I was like, can we say something different? What is it that I actually need to say to her? What can I say that could possibly encapsulate the last however many years? So yeah, I mean, there's a kind of strange answer to a wonderful question.
Their love for each other meant they could love other people even more, which I think is amazing, that they had such friends, like true friends, and felt such love for them.
Andrew, you convinced Claire to take on this role, is this, or no? Or you approached her?
Wordlessly he did. He went...
No, Andy and Jonathan had the foresight that myself and Claire would possibly get along and create an authentic connection, and I believe they were right. I think we did. I really enjoy your company.
It's like a weird sort of like acting dating agency. No, I think good. I mean, really good. In general, a few things I'd change. But I'd never done anything like that before, where you had to... I played parts where you obviously have to, you know, there's chemistry, or you have to kind of instantly get to... That's just what you do. You have to instantly get to know people. But I'd never done anything where it was my whole performance or character entirely relied on Andrew, entirely. If I'd have hated his guts, it would have been really hard. But no, I just really like you. and yeah, it felt very, very easy, weirdly. We both just never questioned it, and
no, but it's a rare thing, and it's a tricky thing to figure out and to find, and a lot of the time it doesn't work.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey,